In this video, I'm going to tell you why most salespeople do objection handling completely wrong. And I'm going to tell you how elite salespeople, elite closers that are doing over 50K a month, how they approach objection handling. So if you do what I say in this video, you will be a better salesperson than anyone you ever meet, guaranteed. So in most generic sales trainings, they will give you a long list of very specific objections that a prospect might give you on a call. And then they're going to give you these extremely specific responses, and it's just like too much information. It's not necessary, and it prevents you from adapting on the fly to the person that you're talking to on the call. Now, it does help you to know some general basic responses to the common objections that you're going to get on calls. So I do recommend that you familiarize yourself with those just so that you know them, and then you can work off of those and make them more natural to you. Most objections you get on sales calls are going to come down to them just not being sure if they want to buy or not. They are uncertain, and they are uncertain because they are lacking trust. That is it. All objections will usually lead back to this in some way. If they were certain about your product or service being right for them, they would buy, no problem. So if you get an objection, it's because they are not sure. And when they are not sure, they're going to say like 10 or 15 different things that actually mean, well, I'm not sure, I don't really trust you. I need to talk to my wife. Let me think about it. I'm not sure about that price. They're going to give you some type of excuse like this. And what they're really saying is, I'm not sure if I want this. I'm not sure if this is good enough. And I'm really not sure if you can actually solve my problems. So there is a lack of trust. All objections come back to not enough trust. Every single one of them. And many times there is no trust between you and the prospect because you didn't give them enough information to make a decision, or you did not do a good enough job in showing them how this product or service is going to solve their pains and problems. So what do? The first thing you want to do is you want to find a list of objection handles. If you're selling for an offer now, they probably already have a list of these that they have given to you. So go over those so that you have a basic idea of what to say to someone whenever they give you one of these common objections. And quick note, the reason I don't really like objection handles is because what most sales reps do, especially beginners, is they just memorize these responses word for word, and it makes you very robotic and unnatural, and that's not what you want. That's not the vibe you want to have on a sales call. You need to learn the basic idea of how to reply to each objection and then adjust that based on the person that you're speaking to. And you can only do this through practice and repetitions. You can't learn this off of a Google Doc or from watching a video. So you want to take a general list of objection handles. Don't memorize it. Just put your own spin on them and try different ways of doing them with people on calls. Now, second thing to do is you want to try and prevent objections before they even happen. And as I said at the beginning of the video, if they're a good fit for your product or service, but they're still giving you an objection at the end of the call, it's because they are unsure and you did not give them enough information to make a decision. So ways to make sure that this doesn't happen. First is you need to make sure that you run the call properly, obviously, and you do a complete discovery on them. Get to the root reason that they got on the call. What is the real reason they got on this call? Okay, you want to sell to their pain and you want to show them how your product or service is going to solve their problems. So when I say get to the root, real reason why they got on the call, this is what I mean. Most beginner sales reps will get on a call and they'll ask these general questions, and the prospect is only going to give them general answers. They're not going to come on there and like completely open up to you unless you dig deep and you make them comfortable enough to do so. So beginners will just ask these surface level questions, and when they get surface level answers, they'll just be like, okay, I'm satisfied, let's just move on. They don't know how to push. And an elite salesperson knows that this person got on this call for a reason. They have some pain or problem that drove them to schedule this call, okay? And they're going to continue to ask questions until the prospect opens up and tells them that root real reason. You need that information, okay? Because if you get that information, they tell you, okay, hey, this is why. Like, this is what's going on in my life. This is why I really got on this call. If you get that information, you can leverage that at the end of the call if they give you objections. So that is what elite people do compared to beginner salespeople. And all of this is stuff I've gone over in other videos, so I'm not going to go too much deeper into that, but it's very important that you understand that. Now, next, before you pitch them, right? Before you pitch the product, you want to do something that is called a tie down. This is a sales term and it's extremely important. So what is a tie down? After you have gone through the call and you've shown them how this product is going to solve their problems, you want to get them to agree with you. Okay, so let me give you an example. You're on the call and you would say, hey, John, after talking with you about all of this, everything we've talked about on this call, do you see how this X product is going to get you from where you're at and where you want to be to where you want to go, while also saving you some time and effort? Something like that. This is a generic phrase, but just this is an example. And he's going to say, yes, I do see that. I do see how that's going to, product is going to do that for me. And this is also important, is asking them, after talking about all of this, is there any reason that you think this product isn't right for you or that it's not going to work for you? This is extremely important to ask. These two questions are called tie down questions, okay? And this second one is extremely important to ask because unless you get their thoughts on this product related to their specific situation, they're not going to tell you, just like I went over before, okay? And asking this question is going to reveal if they have any hangups about buying, which you are going to need to know before you pitch. Because if you don't ask these questions, you're not going to get that information. And then when you go to pitch, they're going to give you an objection. You're going to be like, wait, what? I thought you wanted to buy this product. This is what beginner salespeople do, okay? And what elite closers do not. If you ask these tie-down questions, you will get that information up front and you can handle that before getting to the pitch and you prevent any objection from happening. This stuff is what good salespeople do that 95, 99% of them do not, okay? So this is real shit. If you need to go back and watch this like 2 or 3 times, do it again. So asking those two questions, these are called tie downs, and they are extremely important to do before you pitch, before you get to the pitch and the price. And it's basically tie downs are just getting them to verbally agree and verbally buy in. And the reasons I'm including these simple couple of questions in this video is because, like I said, asking these two things, you are going to know right away if they've been thinking about something in the back of their mind for the entire call that's going to stop them from buying when you get to the end of the call that you had no idea about. So people have to believe that this product is right for their specific situation. It doesn't matter if it's worked for 300 other people. You need to know that they believe it will work for them. This is very important. And this is very common with people in general. Most people have personal beliefs about themselves and about their own ability to succeed. And they have all these mental hangups about success. This is most people in the world, okay? So just because they've seen 200 testimonials, they can still be like, oh, well, it worked for them, but it won't work for me because I have this issue or that issue. This is extremely common. It's crazy. Now, like I mentioned earlier, every single objection you get comes back to trust. Every one of them. If they trust the person they are buying from, none of the other issues matter. Okay? So if they trust this person, they will find the money. They will convince the spouse. They will make the time. You see what I'm saying? So none of these issues matter if they trust you. So any objection that you get from someone is just an excuse to cover up why they don't have enough trust in the person that they are buying from or in the product. Do not forget that. Trust is the most important thing to have from someone if you want them to buy, if you want them to give you money. And in other videos, I've talked about how to gain trust with someone. But the ways that you do this in the high ticket space, in the online business space, is you can do it with the business's social media content and demonstrating that you know what you're talking about. You can send them pre-sales call sales assets like a video, a document, or you can have other people who've gotten good results with this product, video testimonials. You can show them that. You can also run a really good sales call. where you do a great job of showing them, hey, this is going to work for you specifically. It's going to solve your specific problems. Doing all of these things gains trust. An example I mentioned in a much earlier video, selling for the fitness coaching program, I would get on calls with many people, like all the time, who wanted to buy this $6,000 fitness coaching program just because they liked the influencer. Like no other reason. They would get on calls and they'd be like, man, this guy's awesome. I love his content. I watch it every day, and just be ready to hand over thousands of dollars. Like no objections. It didn't matter if they were going to follow the program or not. It didn't matter if they were right for the program or not. They just wanted to buy because they liked the influencer, the fitness influencer, and they liked his content. They had extreme trust in him. That is the punchline, okay? And many of those people I had to disqualify and not sell to. But you see what I'm saying. If they trust you or the person that's running the business, they are going to buy 100% of the time. Now, quick note on the pre-call sales assets that I was just mentioning that you can send them. Many businesses are going to have you do this. They will have you send a pre-call sales asset. So what is that? To go into more detail. Usually it's going to be a short video or a short document, like a Google Doc or a PDF, explaining in great detail what the program is or what the product is, who it's specifically for, and doing this is going to prevent a lot of people who are not good fits from getting on the calls in the first place. So you get way better qualified sales calls, which means you get way more closes, way less objections. Now, in high ticket sales for the longest time, many businesses would not want you to give the price of the product or the program until it's time for the pitch. So they'd be like, do not tell them the price before you get to the end of the call. That is the only time you go over that. However, these days, you can also give them the price in the pre-call sales asset, right? So you can say, this is what it is, this is what it costs, and this will weed out anybody who has an issue with the price. So again, you get way more qualified sales calls and leads. And I think this is more common these days, and I personally like doing this a lot. I don't like gatekeeping the price. If someone asks me the price, I'm like, yeah, it's what it is, right? Like I only want to get on calls with people who are qualified. I'm not trying to get mass calls. But doing this like weeds out anybody that has an issue with the price, basically. And when you get on the call, you already know that they know what it is. They're not going to be blindsided when you hit them with the $5,000 price and you don't have to deal with that stuff on the call. And you didn't just waste like 45 minutes of their time and your time. Most people you talk to are going to know what the price is already if you're doing this strategy. And if they got on the call, they clearly don't have an issue with it, right? Now, this is going to depend on the business that you're selling for. They're all going to have their own preferences on how they want to do this, but this is what I like doing personally. And just for reference, the appointment setter is who sends the pre-call sales assets. So after they schedule a call for the closer, they send out the pre-call sales assets. So it's not your responsibility to do that as a closer, but I would check and see if that's happening with the business that you're on and influence that if you can. Next, when you go over objection handles and you get familiar with what typical responses are to the common objections, just remember that it always comes back to trust. If they have the trust and it's right for them, they will buy. There are no other ways that this plays out in reality. Anyone that tells you different is an idiot and they don't know what they're talking about. So when you are responding with an objection handle to someone's objection, keep that in the back of your mind and be thinking, okay, I just talked to this person for an entire call. Why do they not have the trust? What are they not or lacking trust in? Like what specific thing are they not having trust in? And the way you figure that out is by asking them more questions. Why? More questions. Poke until they give you the answer. The most elite closers that I know will keep someone on the phone and keep asking them questions until they get to the real, actual, honest reason why someone is not buying, why they don't have trust, why are they giving you objections. Not, oh, I have to talk to my wife. Oh, okay, great. Oh, go talk to your wife. No, that's not what they're doing. Why? Why do you need to do that? Okay, why to that? Why? And they will just keep someone on the phone until they get to the real fucking answer. And most people do not have the balls to do this, and that's why they're still beginner salespeople. But like we talked about, if they say, oh, I need to talk to my wife, that's fucking bullshit. You know it and I know it. He doesn't need to talk to his wife. He's just lacking some trust somewhere, and you need to figure out why. And you do that by asking him questions until you get to the root, real reason. And most closers cannot do this. They get the first no or the first objection and they just crumble. Okay, no problem, bye, and they just let him off the phone, right? You need to get comfortable hearing the word no and then digging into why. Do not let the word no phase you. When I get the first no, I'm like, okay, the sales call has started. Now the call has started. Most beginner salespeople, they get the no and they're like, oh, the call's over, and they run off and cry in a corner, okay? The sales call begins when you get the first no. And once you get someone, I'm skipping ahead. The absolute best closers I know are the ones who will just keep someone on the phone. And I know I already said that, but I need to reiterate this. And they will just keep asking the prospect questions until they get to the real reason that this person does not have enough trust to buy. That is what a good salesperson does. If you have a good product that's going to help someone, you want to sell it to them, because it's actually going to help them, okay? We're not trying to sell to people who it's not right for and sell them bullshit, right? We're not trying to scam people. You're trying to sell people products that are going to improve their life. So why would you not do everything that you can to convince them to buy? That is the mindset. And once you get someone to open up to you and give you that real reason that they are hesitating on buying, now you can resolve that with them. Now you can solve it together as a team. Elite closers know that a sales call is a team effort. But most beginners look at it as like, it's like you versus me. I've got to convince them to buy, right? These are two different universes that people are living in, okay? Most closers give up on the first objection, but the best closers stick in there until they get someone to open up and say, hey, okay, this is why. This is the reason that, I'm telling you this, whatever. And then you can be like, oh, well, no problem. I wish you had told me that earlier. Here's how we can solve that. But you have to stay on the phone. You have to be willing to ask questions and get someone to really open up to you. Not give up when they say, oh, I need to talk to my wife. But this is how you handle objections, by getting people to open up to you and give you the real reason why they are hesitating, why they do not have full trust to buy. You have to figure that out. So it doesn't really matter if you've memorized every correct response to every single objection handle in the entire world. The main point is that you have to get this real person to tell you what the real specific reason is they are hesitating. Why do they not have enough trust to buy? Not treating people like robots or like generic things on a piece of paper. Every person is different and you need to treat them accordingly. So you have to get to this point, all right? And this is what the most elite closers that I know do. No one else is giving you this information. I've scoured YouTube. No one else is telling you this stuff. So if you want to stack money, this is what you do. That's the end of the video. If you want my help getting a closer role or a setter role, hit the link in the description. Schedule a call with me so that we can meet each other and we can talk. Until next time.